What's up, everybody? Welcome to the DLP Agenda two-man show tonight. And, of course, the chat, Justin, myself. Joe is at Ocean City with the lovely bride, Katie, and her family. And you are sitting in Joe's normal seat.
Yes.
And we have this new soundboard. We're still...
Thank you. You helped pay for it.
All the sound effects and all the things we can do. And you... on your day job are the master of the soundboard. You have thousands you play. Somehow, I don't know how you do it. It's like you just hit a button and immediately the perfect sound comes off. So as you're sitting here messing around, it occurred to me, well, why weren't you sitting there the whole time? Like, this should be your seat.
No idea. All right. I should have been.
Right.
That mother Joe should have let me sit in the seat instead of insisting.
Joe has no idea how to do this.
Him, his mouth, with my big fat black.
There you go.
I have to sit here.
Joe could never do that.
I have to sit here from now on. Steph, Chef, Ariel, Kelsey, everybody, Brittany, you're coming up tonight. Mac, always a pleasure seeing you. I hate to ask a request, but Mac, if you ever happen to find yourself another selection of fine cigars, I got a guy that's in the market. Speaks is out and would like some fine smokables if they happen to make their way.
Just if they happen to,
I would. We are on the other side of the Ocean City vacation with Randolph Rice Murthapasaurus, our MP. And wow, where to start on a vacation like this?
I guess technically it was Bethany, right? I mean, that's,
I say Ocean City, but Ocean City by way of Bethany. It's like if you're ever familiar with Ocean City, Maryland, drive to the northernmost point and then keep going. And there we are, much nicer. Nowhere near as like, fist my hot Latin ass shorts that are out front of a lot of the gift shops. So, not a lot of insane transients.
It's a little classier.
Yeah, you're not going to see a guy dressed like Captain America with his dick out trying to get a photo with you for $30 and chasing you with a screwdriver.
I do miss that.
I am more a Bethany guy. But Randolph, he let us on his boat for a couple of days. He put us up at his place.
Yeah, we did. I don't know how many miles did we. We were on the boat for like 6 hours, right?
Yeah. Okay. We're going to jump around a little bit. We got a lot to get to tonight.
Shout out House of Pain.
Yeah. What's going on? Everlast, what to do? How did you feel? How did you feel when Randolph was letting me drive the boat? Or more like I might have taken control of his boat?
I have noticed with Randolph, because sometimes he asks me advice on things that he should not be asking me advice on.
He's trusting.
I think he thinks that we are more competent than we really are. And I love that about him. Because
I love it. It's a sign of trust, but it might be a sign of he's the smartest man I know, but he has an air of innocence about him.
It makes him probably good in front of the jury.
Yes, he's innocent. He's the world's only honest lawyer. Well, Murthapasaurus are as well. But I mean, he has a sense he believes in us. When you shouldn't let me believe.
I love that about
him. And your deeply expensive 6-figure plus boat.
Yeah.
He should have taken the wheel away from me immediately.
Is it possible that he's comparing us not to his colleagues, but to his clients? And he's thinking, these guys have it together.
You're the lady that wanted to sue Walmart because she brought a broom and it ended up her ass. It's like, my butthole shouldn't have snapped the handle off and I had to get corrective surgery.
It happens.
And also some people in here said, Steph, Justin, you look trashed on the boat. It's funny you should bring that up.
Can confirm.
Because I was trashed on the boat. I was a disaster on the boat.
I thought we did a pretty good job of pacing ourselves because I can't day drink like I used to, which is a good thing. So I am cognizant of, and we didn't hit any hard liquor until we were at the house.
Till the boat was docked and we were done. It was all canned cocktails.
So that was smart.
Yeah.
We had a good time. We had a great time. Let's be honest. One thing that I noticed, you and I, we tend to make some just very juvenile homoerotic jokes.
Dude.
And at about 0 for 20, them landing with Randolph, I'm like, hey, maybe we should slow down.
Okay. I can't get into the subject matter. I will on the Patreon.
Okay.
On the way to the dock.
Oh, no.
We're chatting them up.
Yeah.
We're talking about some stuff. If you are a client of Randolph Rice's, just know the man is a goddamn vault because we were asking him about stuff.
We were.
And they go, can't talk about that. Can't talk about that. Legally can't talk about that. Yo, he keeps the info close to the best for his clients. We were talking about some stuff. Dude, I made a joke that fucking bombed in the car. The one in the back.
Do I remember this?
Yeah, because you looked over and was like, that bombed.
I do remember that.
Remember that one?
Yes.
Not good.
Well,
yeah, that might have been the one time I was like, I wonder if I irked Randolph with that one.
I don't know if he heard it.
No, he heard it.
Okay.
No, he made a face. I'll get into it on the Patreon.
Yeah,
but
just tell the joke on Patreon.
On Patreon.
The hell of a tease.
Not even that great a joke. And it fucking ate it. But to your point, so we get on the boat and, we start getting deep into the cans. And for whatever reason, we just always go from zero to gay.
Real zero to gay.
We start gay and get gayer. And we had to pull each other aside and go like, hey, we got to stop. We got to stop making those like, suck my knuckle jokes.
Right.
Or,
it's like we're very juvenile.
Yeah. Hey, can I put sunscreen on your nipples?
We are juvenile.
No, we're children.
We're being ourselves.
Absolute children. Me, the most childlike of the three. And I think he feels like he's hanging out with two of his buddies, one that's in finance, one that's a golfer, and another one that just one day hopes to meet Seth Rollins. Not because I get sick, but we did. Rob and I had to sort of course correct, self-correct. I think we did a good job with that.
We did a good job. I want to talk about the first place we stopped on the boat, where the only time we had rain issues.
Yeah,
but
that was rough.
Our attractive, I would say attractive, but also thick in an attractive way.
She was you had a foot of height on her. She is a Simbazo special.
Yeah, a Simbazo special. You know what else special is? So McKenna, I thought we were doing pretty well. I mean,
good memory. That was the waitress's name.
It's a good name, and I thought there was some good flirting going on.
Yeah, we got free drinks.
Yep. And then 3 minutes later, the table next door, she's giving that handsome black gentleman her Instagram. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That man knows an ass.
Yeah, that man knows an ass. Two big juicies. And she saw these just dark hazelnut abs.
Good for her.
On that wet tank top.
Made the right decision.
No, absolutely. She's got a bunch of crooked spined zilchers and a lawyer.
Yeah. And her back is worse than Joe's right now.
It's not great. If there are those that are asking, we are going to try and actually get a hold of Joe tonight.
Try to call him.
Because again, this beautiful new piece of equipment that you paid for, patreon.com/the agenda. Thank you. Wait till you see, by the way, what's going right there that this guy's ordered. Everybody's got ready to go. This thing, I can't fucking wait to show you what's going up behind here.
The mock-up looks fucking amazing.
It might be the coolest thing we've ever bought. You've ever bought. Okay.
Shout out to Robbie Robinson for helping with this.
For helping with that. We had the TV thing, kind of a failed experiment. We realized we didn't need a TV up there. We could actually overlay graphics on YouTube videos. We don't have a Jamie from the Joe Rogan complex to be able to pop stuff up immediately. We're sort of our own producers. But what we have up there instead, okay, so it was also at the restaurant that we went to. We were reminiscing about God knows what. And it had something to do with school. And it had something to do with law. That's what it was. It was law and school. Joe dropped a goddamn bombshell on us about a school project that I almost feel bad. I almost feel bad talking about it without him here.
We have to. Now, what grade is this?
This is like, but is it middle school?
It's something
he's
the
young.
6th grade range.
He's very, very young. He's very young. Okay. So he is in class.
I want to let people guess.
Yeah, you know what? Great idea. Sticky Nicky, Britt, Steph, Raven Chef. Okay. You have to guess.
They had a mock trial.
Yes, that Joe was the defendant's lawyer, but what he was defending was a concept.
He had to argue in favor of it.
He had to argue in favor of this thing. And it was a mock trial in school. Someone had to argue against it. Someone had to argue for it. And Joe was arguing for it.
Purposely selected Joe for this. Said, you're the perfect word.
And I can't wait to get into that one detail about the teacher after we reveal what did Joe in front of a whole group of students and faculty.
Oh, no, we got to think large topics. We got to think.
No, Britt, Mac, way
no
worse.
Summer break, handsome, none of that. We
got
to
to think
worse. Huge issues, like not abortion, but something of that magnitude.
Super bad. For example, like if I was
not that abortion's bad. I mean,
it's just
maybe it is. I don't want to talk about it.
JonBenet deserved it. That's what I'm arguing. Like, what the fuck?
Integrating schools is getting closer. We're
getting
closer.
Way closer. Sticky, you're getting very closer. Kelsey, Draven, too soft. Raven, way too soft.
Kelsey, child predator being teachers. Okay, too hard.
A little bit much. Yeah. I'm
going to give with the segregation. Go down that rabbit hole.
After Kelsey, I'm going to give 3 more guesses. Sticky got 1. Gender separation. Mac, was slavery bad? I'll give it to Mac.
Yes.
Mac, Joe in class and man, Ariel. I was hoping you took the night off on this one.
Sorry, Ariel.
Gather Tim around the YouTube stream right now. Joe, when he was younger,
9-year-old Joe.
9-year-old Joe.
Wore a suit to school.
You ever just look at a kid and go, you're going to be an asshole. Oh, you're going to be a psycho. Well, the teacher, his black teacher looked at Joe and goes, okay, in this mock trial, you, Cynthia, are going to argue against slavery.
Yeah, the
and
thing
Joe,
we all agree is wrong.
Yeah, the thing that history has proven to be abhorrent.
Right.
And Joe, you have the look of someone that might come from a background that said, wait a minute, hear me out. You're arguing in favor of slavery.
Joe said, I got it. I already have my notes.
It's weird. I've been preparing for this my whole life.
He pulls out his diary.
When my uncle drinks, he made all kinds of great points. And Randolph is turning a shade of white, like, Jesus, who am I having lunch with here?
And then we started making the case that what Joe was saying. Hey, you get a lot of exercise. Exercise is good.
We're trying to figure out.
Yes.
We're making some of the
so awful,
like what Joe could have argued.
We're paraphrasing Joe here.
Joe saying
not
this,
us.
not us, and not modern Joe, not 64-year-old Joe,
not
9-year-old Joe during the Nixon administration.
He didn't know better.
No, he had no idea. Yeah, it was not great. So we're thinking about doing a podcast where I'm in character as Private Pinkle from the Army sex harassment training video. He's going to be the pro-slavery lawyer, and it's going to be called The Rapist and the Racist.
Yes.
The new DLP Agenda Patreon podcast. That will never happen.
No.
Just a concept on paper.
Unless we get 100 new patrons because of that.
It'll be $100 an episode.
Happen.
$100 per episode paid. So
I
when
can't wait for
return,
the flyer, the poster that Dave Dennis creates for that.
Don't make that, Dave.
Do not.
Don't
Dave,
make that,
do
Dave.
Not. Don't put that in A-high. We'll get canceled. Okay?
It was real bad. Yeah. Sorry, Randolph, for a couple of things. Rob and I jokingly, not jokingly, hitting on you the whole trip. Joe realizing that he argued in favor of Jim Crow laws.
Yes.
Me dumping up your bathroom in the house.
You had to do it.
Didn't touch myself. I did not.
You know what? A lot of our predictions, we didn't throw up. We didn't get sick. We forgot to call people. We're just having so much fun. We did. I don't know if we predicted this. We did make Randolph watch Randy Macho Man Savage wrestling videos.
Yes.
Which we should have been all over.
Oh my God. Yeah. Rob made him. He made us watch something that we're going to get into on the Patreon. But we said, oh, okay, well, let's show you this. And the next thing you know, we're just showing him Randy Savage promos. Yeah. And I'm looking at you and you're looking at me. We're giggling again like children.
We're enjoying it.
And he's in hell. And he's like, who the fuck did I invite into my house? Yeah. What about the big little after party back in the kitchen? That cadre of people.
So Katie shows up with Frank. It's Katie, Frank, Joe. Randolph's been drinking, but Justin and I are clearly the drunk ones here.
The minute we get back, we're like, where's the fucking liquor?
We also bought fudge. So we're enjoying whiskey and cookies and cream fudge. I recommend it, actually.
Drunk.
Quite the combination.
Fudge fiends. Yeah, everybody continued to just have themselves like a light beverage. Randolph had one nightcap. You and I are pouring thick quad pours.
I did make a joke at one point, I think at Joe's expense, and I looked at Katie and Joe. And I said, wait a minute, maybe I've crossed the line there. I think maybe.
Do I remember what the joke was?
It was something to the fact that Katie and Frank both hate you or something. It was kind of harsh.
I made the joke in the chat today that I think Frank hates all of us.
You think so? He definitely
I've never broken through.
I think he likes Randolph.
I know he likes Randolph because he's a man of power and promise. But we made a joke, or not a joke, excuse me. We told a story that you guys are being very nice. I'm deep in the bottles, and we're down in Bethany, and in this little shopping center, on one side, there's the restaurant we're going to, and on the other side there's a comic and collectible place.
Yes.
And on the way back, I'm like a child, can I please go down the toy aisle? We walk into this place, and we go in there, which, by the way, we went in there. Do you remember what Randolph did?
Yes. Randolph goes up to the only person working there, this girl, and goes, what's the most expensive item you have?
She said, sir, right here, this is Captain America #1 or whatever. I'm making that up, but it's some inhumanly high
thousands of dollars.
White glove, you're not allowed to touch it type thing.
It's in a case.
And you remember what he did?
He walked away.
Just was like, nah, too lowbrow for him. Hey, Justin, you might be able to afford this. I wasn't in there looking for comics. I was looking for collectibles. I found
there were 2 Ja Rule Funko Pops.
We thought about that because you and I had tickets to Firefest at one point.
Yeah, they were both the same but different prices,
and
very, very Ja Rule.
Yes, exactly. This one's with a mustache. This one's without. We go back and we tell Frank this story about the night.
Yeah,
the absolute look of disdain in his face towards me of like, who the fuck would go into a comic shop at your age.
Who does my daughter hang out with?
And then he starts giving Joe shit about not mowing his own lawn, and which is kind of old part.
Which we love that.
Because he army crawled up the steps when he recounted that tale. I didn't know Frank knew that he did that. And then I can't recall if he was ever cross with you. I don't think
so.
But
I did sort of accidentally make Joe tell the story about how he blew up the bathroom and then his mother-in-law walked in right after at the condo. So I don't know. I don't know if he wanted it out there. But
destroyed, like absolute mayhem.
So now he had to tell that story in front of Katie and Frank.
In front of the man who, she's married to.
He's not the hero in this story.
No, he's not the hero in this. But I mean, overall, an amazing trip. And
you two got in the water, and I think I screwed up because it looked like you were on the inner tube at a good. I mean, by the way, the videos, the photos are all over Instagram and Facebook. They're
good documentation. Up. You did, you didn't get in the water, but you were sort of the you were the war correspondent. You filmed,
I did my part.
Pictures.
Yeah.
We
got
went
some
live.
good stuff.
You got great.
You got
stuff.
some great air on that one,
dude. I hit a wake that shook my asshole up into the base of my neck. Last time I went, I was real full of myself. I thought I could still water ski. It occurred. I hadn't since I was 15 and 60 pounds lighter. Couldn't do it. Got on a tube. Had a blast. We did it again this time. I jump in. I sit on it. I'm holding up one drink. I'm holding on to the other.
You looked like a badass.
I had a lot of fun. I'm not sure I'm going to call it badass, but you're sweet to say
cool,
that.
man.
Then
you look like you were having fun, and that's
dude. I had a blast. Yes. By the way, if you tube. So it's a inner tube, but there is a membrane in the bottom, so you can't go all the way through it. There's a thing that catches you, like a little thin little piece of vinyl, and you sit in that thing. Okay, there's still water, just power washing the underside of this thing. It was like a fire hose bidet. I have never had a cleaner asshole because my cheeks were like yanked apart by the waves. I got salt
Stamboni
water.
drank the water afterwards.
Oh, we jarred it up. We gave it to him. We're going to get into that later on the show. Turned the listeners on us. So then I fall off. I grab on Superman style, and I'm holding on.
That looked like a workout.
That was a workout, and I don't think I told you guys then because I didn't want to concern anybody. I thought I was having a cardiac event after that. I fall off. He deploys the ladder. I get up inside. I can't get my heart rate to lower, and I'm feeling my wrists. I feel my heart beating in my wrists. And for a couple of moments, I'm just like, just look away. This will pass.
Just let it pass.
I don't want to be the guy that's like, hey guys, we got to get back to shore because I'm dying.
You don't want to be that guy.
I don't want to be. I'm like, guys,
especially we're a third of the way into this.
We've just begun the day for a moment. Which, by the way, that morning I left in a bit of a rush. I didn't take my heart med. And I was thinking, I didn't take my candesartan, 16 milligrams. I have to take it every day.
We'll get to leaving in the morning in a second.
Oh, we will. And yes. But yeah, I didn't take it. And for a moment, it calmed down to like a minute or two. But for a moment, was struggling. And I was like, you don't want to be the guy that pukes at the party and ruins the party.
No.
I didn't want to be the guy that had his heart fucking seize up and be like, we got to go to the hospital now.
Especially when we all thought that would be Joe.
We thought it'd be Joe.
Yes.
Okay, then please take it from here. Joe's turn.
So Joe, okay. And I want to give him a lot of credit for doing it because I pussied out, so he did it. But he had a hard time just getting in it.
Dude.
I mean, at one point I was like, it's not going to happen. There was 3 or 4 attempts. There was different strategies, different angles.
We were trying to get that big fat cheeseburger ass of his into this thing, and he kept going right out the other side.
Right out the other side.
And I was starting. Okay, I laughed at the first one.
Yeah.
I smiled at the second. Curious at the third. Felt bad at the fourth.
Well, now, yeah, because it's at some point you're like, okay, he wants to do this. He's totally exposed.
Yeah.
It's clearly
he's vulnerable.
We just saw you do it on the first attempt, and you're not like a world-class athlete. Okay?
Yeah.
You're also not young either.
No, I'm 45.
Yes.
I have relative balance from skateboarding and snowboarding. It's a different skill set, but okay. Joe's never been a board sports guy. He's never been a water sports guy. But he's always been a sitting down guy.
He's a big sitting guy.
He's a big He does it every Tuesday, right around 7:15. And
he likes to sit down on the couch and eat at a restaurant.
He loves to sit. I guess he does. He loves sitting at a couch.
I have some photos. One's a live photo where you can see him. I guess I may have to show in person, but you can see him flipping over. But he did get on it. And
did you get video of the failed attempt of him getting into it?
I didn't. I felt guilty because I felt like I I don't want to act like I'm making fun of you, Joe, because you're doing it and I'm not.
No,
So,
he's doing it. That's the
yes.
thing. That's why I started feeling bad, is because he was goddamn
Right.
efforting, and he
and
knows.
I wasn't. So I shouldn't. I can't make fun of him.
Well,
if
you
I-
know your capabilities and your
No.
desires. You know what you want to do, you don't want to do. I
Right.
never want to be like, come on, do it,
Right.
get in. No one has fun doing that. No one has fun with the guy that's like, come on, drink this shitty IPA. I know you said you hate them, but you'll like this one, and it's awful. I
Right.
never want to be that.
Steph says I can turn a live photo into a video. Okay, I want to look at that.
Make it
I'm
happen.
going to figure that shit out.
So when you said you didn't want to do it, no one batted an eye. Like, cool, you take
No.
some photos. The fact that he did do it, and
Yes.
then when he finally got in,
And he lasted as long as you did. the
he
first
held
time.
on,
Yeah.
dude. He held
And-
on hard until he hit that
Yeah.
wake.
Brittany's talking about his weak wave. I thought he was waving, saying, "Hey, I'm killing this,"
No,
but really he was saying, "I'm done."
my discs are compressing.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gave hand signals going
Mhm.
down means slow down.
Yeah.
Up, go faster.
We don't know what wave means.
We don't know what this
Yes.
means. We don't know polio.
Maybe he's arguing for slavery.
Man, and just when Joe wet without his glasses
Yes.
is
Oh,
it's a rough sight.
it's a sight.
Dude,
It's a
we
sight.
went live on Instagram and
We
Katie
did.
was in the chat going, how do I sue an injury lawyer
Yes.
for
Yeah.
killing my
Right.
husband? Do you want to take a quick break and
I want to
thank
hear
some sponsors?
We have a new GRB roofing ad that's going to play at the top of the show. Don't skip it. Listen to it. And now we have a brand new, speaking of, a Randolph Rice ad that I did that basically has nothing to do with being a lawyer, but we're going to enjoy it right now.
RiceLawMD.com. You're welcome.
Come on.
Thank you
Right
very
there.
much for all this fresh equipment. We can't thank you guys enough for
We
this.
can't.
Huh? I will not be adding fart sounds. That's a JSS exclusive. Shout out to the boys.
Do you want to try to call Joe?
Let's give him a call. Yeah, let's get a recap of his and we'll get to some
All right.
other stuff. Let's see if we can hear from our
Calling
boy.
Joe right
All right,
now.
here we go. All right, let's see if we can hear
First
Joe.
time calling someone. Hopefully it answers.
Hopefully he can hear us through the
I guess we're going to find out. Yeah, I wonder if he can hear us. Maybe he can't. He's got to answer.
I don't think he's going to pick up.
That son of a bitch.
He knew this was happening.
He's dodging us.
Max says, boo. What happened to giving the
You've
audience what
reached
they
the
want?
voicemail
You
of Joe Robbins.
son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch.
If he calls back,
Do you think he's going to be able to hear us?
we'll
I
pick
don't
up.
know.
You should be.
All right.
I heard you
That's true.
when we did a little test ahead of
you
time.
did.
If it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. Work in progress. Thank you for everything.
Brittany says, that's it, Rob. You're writing my speech for my sister's wedding. I would love to do that. You have to record it, though, and we have to be able to play it somewhere.
I'm glad Britt's in chat tonight. Britt, I'd love to talk to you about a show that I did this past weekend.
Mhm.
It was on Friday, and it was the Old Line Distillery, downtown Baltimore. You've done this show yourself.
I have.
It's a Mike Quinlan special.
It's outside.
It's
right?
outside.
It's
I see.
nice.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The last time I was there,
Mhm.
it was for I hosted a band named Veer, great band, VEER, Kate Boys, and I hosted a CD release party. Went on stage, introduced them. They were inside, and I love the
Okay.
setup. Outdoor comedy is a crapshoot because
It is. But I think they have a pretty good setup for it. All
Quinlan's-
things being equal.
he's got it set as best
Mhm.
as he can. We were dealing with a couple of issues. One, I guess there was an escaped convict because there was a goddamn
Oh,
helicopter
That's fun.
that was just nonstop
that noisy?
circling. I've heard helicopters that
All
get
right.
pretty noisy. They call them the motorcycles of the sky.
Hmm.
Then we had a food truck that was at the very back of the place, and to power up a food truck's cooking equipment, it has a gas generator on the
Oh.
outside of the truck.
So two things working against you.
So
that
it sounds-
there's nothing you can do to fix.
There's nothing. And I
Mm.
mean, one of them's generating money, the other's generating justice, and there's just a lot of ambience there. So it was Mike Quinlan, Jeff King, new comic that I met who's incredible,
Mhm.
Violet Gray, incredible, Bill Monahan, and myself.
A lot of our favorites.
Yeah, it's a lot of good people. I don't think I did that great. And Quinlan had, and I love Quinlan, but I also pulled him aside. I was like, dude, what the fuck was that intro? Where he went and brought up Violet Gray, who is by every single measure, she is a different joke writer than I am. Leagues better.
Yeah.
I mean, writes great jokes. There's a lot of setup, punchline. There's a lot of rug pull.
More of
there's
a
good callback.
technical writer
A
than
very
you would be.
sharp writer.
Mhm.
Me, I'm just pump action, shotgunning stuff,
Mhm.
trying to hope one of the buckshots hit. She's putting sniper bullets in between eyes. And right before she goes on, I was like, we got a great show. I love Justin, but I think Violet's way better. I think she's better. I'm just saying, And I'm like, I'm looking in the back and I like put my hands
What
up
are you
like,
doing?
the fuck are you doing right now, pal? I mean, good. She's incredible. But I'm not sure why that was necessary. And then she goes up, murders. I'm in the back and I look at him like, thank you for the gig. I love your gigs. That was an odd intro. Whatever. But then I went up.
You don't want to put it in the head of the audience that you're competing with the other comics.
No, but there was it. How do I put this? Okay. In comedy, you either have the heckler, you have the drunk bachelor/bachelorette party, you've got the offended person who I'm out of here, I want to leave, and another one is in an odd space. It's in an odd one. The way too eager to help.
I was about to say that. I was like, you know what? I think he's going to say that.
It's the deputize me.
Yes.
Let's be in this together, Sheriff.
It's an unnatural thing. It's not a pep rally or political rally where you're cheering for every point you make.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to laugh.
Just laugh and be a part of it. And there's a guy.
Don't do too much.
Don't do too much. And this guy did too much 10 fucking steps ago. And again,
they mean well.
They mean well.
So that's
which is
where
what
you can't.
kills me.
Right.
Like, I can't fucking murder this guy because he's trying to be helpful, but he is helpful in the same way a 4-year-old wants to help make dinner.
Right.
Can I put some M&Ms in the pasta?
Yes.
Is there any chance that I could put this milk in the oven for you? I have an idea. Let me clean the utensils off in the dog bowl.
Brittany says you handled him very well.
Well, here's the issue. That's what I want to see. Britt, you were close-ish to the front of the stage. He was dead up front, meaning he had no amplification to his voice. Only I and the people near him could hear him.
And that I've been in a situation, you don't want to acknowledge something that it's entirely possible that 80% of the room doesn't even know that's happening.
Exactly.
So now you've brought it to everyone's attention. And they would never have known.
Exactly. That's what it was. And it was once, and then a second time, and then a fifth, and then a 10th. And after a while, I'll give you a tell of mine, and I need to learn a new technique because this is a real chip shot for me. If I'm getting frustrated for real, I will make a comment that's like, good improv, real helpful. I will say the words good improv, real good.
Yes.
Man, you're really helping. That's when you know I've run out of shit to say to you. And I'm at this point, I'm beginning to get frustrated. And I hit him with that like 3 or 4 times. And he do the oops, was that me? I'm sorry. And I'm like, okay. But then also,
but he still thinks he's helping.
We're also at a distillery.
Yeah.
Show's at 7. He's there at 5:30.
Okay.
He's beating up brown liquor cocktails. I mean, I talked to him after the show. It was a courteous conversation. His eyes were shooting in 2 separate directions like a fucking crab. So I'm like, there's
Did you know
here.
him? Had he been to shows before?
He has a legendary piece of JSS memorabilia. You ever see the Scott penis candle? Scott had his junk molded and made into a candle years ago.
An erect mold?
There had some body into it.
Because that would be hard to stay hard that whole time of the
he had some
molding.
Had some girth to it.
Okay.
Had some
Good
girth
for him.
And it was one of those ones like they almost mold your teeth for trays. They just molded his hog, took it back out, filled it with wax, made a candle. And I mean, the legend of Reardon, it's true.
Should we do that, everybody? Hey, ladies, men in the chat, if you want to make candles with your parts.
We're not going to spend a lot of money on wax, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
He somehow ended up in possession of this candle.
Okay.
We gave it away at an event one day.
It's never been lit?
No, it's actually been broken. He lost it and broke it in a move.
Up his ass.
But it's right up his B, and it melted. The heat of his ass melted. It stuffed the ass. And he showed me the pic at the beginning of the show. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And we started catching up. And I think my problem was I was way too chummy.
Yeah.
Way too chummy at the beginning. I was connecting with him on a level because I was appreciative of the listenership and the candle and all that. So by the time I get on, he's like, oh, it's my buddy. He's back. Let's keep the conversation going.
And because you're outside, it was easier to have people converse with you before the show.
Yes.
Than versus a club or a bar where you're in the corner in a green room.
Brittany, were there big deltas in between laughs? Because I felt like I had some momentum to begin. I had a little at the end, but there were moments in that set I was hating because I was swimming. I felt like I felt like 5 or 6 minutes went by without a chuckle. I mean, without a smile.
Yeah.
Where sometimes the delta between my laughs is too big, and I'm trying to work on that for November 30th. Tickets go on sale September 6th.
But when you're outside, sometimes there are people laughing, and you can't really hear it. If they're just sometimes people are just like, ha, ha, ha,
hey.
Good. And if they're outside in the back, you're not going to hear that.
Yeah, maybe. I'm hoping that's the case. I know that was oddly enough the case for a couple of the comics that were at Meriwether Post Pavilion for the Burt Kreischer thing.
Yeah.
A couple of the comics backstage are like, God, what's with these people? And they had to be assured by staff, no. Walk down the cement step side stage, turn around after 10 feet, and you'll hear the waves of laughter that get swallowed up. She said,
Brittany's
you 100%
answering.
worked it in well. It wasn't constant like it can be, but it was still a lot of laughter. Okay, yeah.
I think that's probably a fair description. Brittany's going to tell it like it is.
The night was a win, though.
Yeah.
The night was a win because I used your tag on the stepson joke, and I told you about it in OC.
The one that we riffed out on here.
I was fleshing out ideas about me and the step kid and blah, 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 and me walking
started with you getting high.
Me getting stoned and me riffing with some friends, and we were talking about a bit that I wanted to do where I accidentally walked in on my stepson. I saw him getting out of the shower. Oh, my God. His crank is so much larger than mine. I can never tell him what to do again. And you added the tag. Well, I saw the size of it and immediately knew that's my stepson. Couldn't be mine.
Right.
Boom. Pop, laugh
Nice.
out. And I was like, yes. So I got one new chunk out of that. Thank God. So that was
a new bit. It does. It almost, especially now, because I tell a lot of jokes that I've been telling a while. So when I have something new and it pops, it's almost like the set's a success. Even if I have 20 minutes left, so really got to keep working. I've been working on this thing because you're in hotels so often, and I've never understood the concept of the do not disturb sign.
Okay,
it's just the words do not disturb. It's like to be disturbed is to mean to be bothered.
Yes,
and you never want to be bothered. That's what bothered means.
No one wants to be bothered.
Right.
Yes,
so you should never have to tell to not disturb you.
For example, I'm not going to walk downtown Baltimore with a shirt on that says, do not murder.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do not rob.
So the sign, you should be telling them to disturb you. The default should be don't disturb.
Yeah. The default should be, it should be an understanding. Do not disturb.
Right.
We don't need the rape whistle anymore.
No.
Just a shirt that says, hey, please don't do that.
But yet to tell them this, you have to put the flimsiest piece of cardboard on the door that will fall 100% of the time. If you open the door, it falls off. Somebody walks by fast. You jump up and down. You fart in your bed. It falls off.
Yeah.
And then the housekeeping sees it on the floor and they think, hey, they must want us to come in. Bang, 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 bang. Why do I need new fucking towels?
Yeah.
I'm drying myself off after I've showered. I'm here for 3 nights. I don't need new towels. And then there's the joke in there is like, you know how often I change my towels in my house? Every 3 months. It's seasonal. Okay. Yeah. And then I try to ask a woman in the audience who always disagrees with me. She changes towels every week. So then I ask the husband, if she's gone for like a year, how often you change the towels? He'll say like once. But that's basically, it's just, you talk about a violent having a technical approach. I'm just sort of yelling that out and riffing on it. There's no like actual boom, 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 boom.
I thought of a corny pun in regards to this concept.
I like puns.
Does the band Disturbed have a tough time finding a hotel room? We can't go in there either. There's a sign on the door. Do not disturb. Guess we'll go down to the next one.
We'll go down there. Yeah.
This one also. The band Disturbed cannot find a hotel room. Hey, speaking of comedy updates, you told us a story about a girl you hung out with. Was it post-show?
Yes,
at one of the shows
in Cincinnati,
who had a version, basically the evil female version of Joe's How to End a Conversation that she wasn't into.
Amen.
Someone would go off on some dumb Schlegel-long tangent, and if she wanted to end it, she would go, amen,
and then move on.
Shut it down.
I also, when I didn't understand what she was asking me, if it was me or Dave, she goes, be a gentleman, and please clarify which of the P's in the pod you identify as. And rather than me saying it's me, Rob, I said, I aim to pease you.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
And she said, amen.
Amen.
So I texted her. I said, hey, here's the podcast. Here's the times. She goes, I'm slightly nervous to listen, but I'm loving the title, LOL, because I named it Amen. She goes, I said, were you able to overcome your nerves and listen? She goes, I did. You painted me in a wonderful light. I completely forgot about seeing those losers in the elevator. Too fucking funny. And I said, whatever. I had to paint you in the proper light. Greatly appreciate it. Didn't think being talked about on a podcast is going to be on my 2024 bingo card, but pretty damn cool. Haha.
Okay.
And then I showed her the screenshot of our buddy Dan Healy, who messaged me on Facebook, says, I'm going to see Justin at stand up at the Old Line Spirits.
Yeah.
First guy here say amen in the middle of his set gets a drink on my tab.
No one said amen, so nobody got a drink.
She goes, I love it. So
good. All well that ends well there.
Everyone's
That's good.
happy.
She's feeling good about that.
She's feeling very good about it.
That's good. That's a good end to someone that occasionally people don't like getting talked about on a podcast. Yes, Patreon. I will be talking about my stepson joining me on the radio show this morning. That is a Patreon discussion, not just for what happened, but how it happened. That'll be next Tuesday. I want Joe back here. Speaking of shows, there's one that the world has become fascinated with.
Right.
This is not a new thing. It is probably one of the biggest comedy programs in the world right now. It came roaring to popularity 2022, took over the world 2023 and 2024. It is now the new Carson, Letterman, Leno. You get on it, you do well, you're a made man, kill Tony.
Yeah, it's a phenomenon.
It is. Tony Hinchcliffe is about as brilliant a comedian as you're going to find. He's about as successful a one as you're going to find. And Sam Talent, who I'm fascinated with, dubbed him on the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience. Hinchcliffe is now the kingmaker.
Yeah.
If you go on there, you've been knighted. That's it. I mean, guys, overnight comedy career.
Because someone on that level would never, like Joe Rogan is obviously has more listeners, but you're not going on the Joe Rogan show if you're some open micer.
No, there's no chance.
No chance, nor should you. But with the way the Kill Tony show is set up, you can literally go from someone that you could have seen in Old Line Spirits Saturday night, doing 10 minutes,
someone that's doing the Wits End open mic,
to headlining comedy clubs in 6 months.
Casey Rocket, who is one of his big guys, the Crab. All right, he went from living behind his car to now having like a nationally sold out tour. And it is such a goddamn phenomenon. But man, that is a rabid fan base. Did you have a chance to see Sam Morrill, who was just at Magoobies this past weekend? Am I always saying that right? Sam Morrill, Sam Morrell?
Sam Morrell.
Sam Morrell, thank you. Sam Morrell, who roasted Fox 45.
God, that was so
good. Dude,
good.
if anybody gets a chance and you want to see just how bad morning TV can go when they don't know what the fuck they got themselves into, search Sam Morrell on Instagram and look at the Good Day Baltimore clip. He took that show out at the knees. I was texting people that work down there, said it was the talk of the studio, and people got themselves a talking to afterwards.
Oh, yeah.
For not vetting who they were talking to.
Steph goes the bridge joke. Yes.
Dude, it was brutal about him rescuing the Chihuahua.
Yeah.
And the other jokes that he was making. Sam Morrell went in there and just is like, I don't need this for promotion. I'm going to turn this into a 600,000 view clip.
That is promotion.
It's promotion.
Yes.
So Sam Morrell and one of my favorite people in comedy on the planet, Chad Daniels, was recently on there. They're on the dais, and it's those two and Tony Hinchcliffe and just that cavalcade of fucking weirdos. And it occurred to me, this is going to be real local, so I'll try and color in the details briefly. We used to go to an open mic. It's probably where you and I met, called Wiseacres, and was it Tyson's Corner, McLean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was in the restaurant of a hotel in a shopping center.
Right there on Route 7.
Wednesday nights, man. And I went to quite a few open mics in the DC, Baltimore, Virginia area. And every one, you would have a couple of comics. You'd have a vet that was working on something. You'd have someone that was 30 years past expiring. But then you'd always have a weirdo. You just got a guy with a bunch. Who was the guy that used to go up to Wiseacres? He had that fucking work vest. He had a yellow work vest.
Yeah, he worked at like Shoppers Food Warehouse or something.
Clearly had a neurological condition, but everyone's like, oh, it's just Richie, put him up.
Yeah.
Well, every open mic's got one or two of those. The ratio of crazy to comic at Wiseacres was always 2 or 3 notches up.
Yes, it was.
It was always just a level of somebody that was like, guy, you're going to fucking stab someone at a FedEx Kinko's one day.
It was in such a good location that I was coming from Winchester, but you could come from like DC parts of Maryland, all parts of Virginia.
Yeah.
It drew a lot of people because it was a good open mic.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of parking. You're in a club.
It's easy to get into.
Club.
There's food.
Right.
There's drinks.
Yes.
The club, the venue wanted us there, the hotel, because it gave a draw for people that are there.
It's a club you could do well and you get work at. So
yeah, you can actually get work on the weekends.
Yes.
And it was a feather in a cap to be able to headline around here for years. It was like a C room that had some A comics go through. And I realized that Kill Tony has made some absolute fiendish killers on that show. They've taken some people out of obscurity. And Tony Hinchcliffe, he really is the goddamn Johnny Appleseed. He's the patron saint, the modern Mother Teresa of comedy. He's taking people that would have taken 10 to 15 years to get to where they wanted to go, and he's truncating it down into like a multi-month period. Yeah. I mean, he's handed people careers. The guy, he should be celebrated soup to nuts. But he's got a fascination for the fucking freaks.
Yeah.
He has got a fascination for the psychopaths.
Well, there's a lot.
And
maybe more of those out there than the rest of us.
He's putting some people up that you're like, what the fuck are you? And he loves someone that's mentally off. Someone, goddamn, the Adam
it's
Ray,
almost
Shane
like early
Gillis.
American Idol, where they have
a William Hung. Yes, it's William Hung, comedians type stuff. And or the other one, what was the one blonde chick's name with a gut that lost her mind? She was crazy. She was like freaking out in the lobby. I wish I could remember her name. She was like the second crazy after William Hung. Hung was harmless. She had to be escorted out. And he loves them.
Hey, ladies, Hung is never harmless. Am I right?
Chad was on there, and apparently, if rumor is to be believed, Chad was not very familiar with the concept of the show. He knew Tony. He knew Sam.
He just knew it was a massive show.
He just knew it's a massive show. It sells out 2 nights back-to-back Madison Square Garden. Again, it's the Kingmaker.
How are you not going to do it?
How do you not do that? To be asked to be on there as a guest comedian. He's got a hot new Netflix special. He's crushing. He did 2 specials back-to-back nights. One night he released 2 specials in 2 nights.
His girlfriend, Kelsey Cook's really funny.
Oh, my God. What's called Make Believe Problems, I think is so. their podcast.
Yeah.
What he goes on is he's part of the crew on the table. And he's not totally familiar with what's going on here. And, there's been some other issues with some people in the past. Ric Flair lost his fucking mind and walked off the set of that thing. He hated it. Ric Flair was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not making fun of these fucking people. You could tell these people
it's not for everybody.
It's not.
I know Keckner was on it as a panelist, and it's him roasting people is not really his
no,
thing.
He's a kind man.
Yes.
And people are like, oh, you should do Kill Tony. You should not in a fucking million years. I would collapse. I can't get started in a minute. It takes me 10 minutes to get to my first lap. I wouldn't make it. I'd die. I'd turn into ash. And Chad is a very sweet Midwesterner.
Pretend Problems is the podcast.
Pretend Problems.
Chad
Thank you so much. And Chad's brilliant, but dude, he goes on, and the very first guy, he's got like this fucking insane cerebral palsy. And I mean, he's like flailing around a lot, and you could see Chad's like staring at him like, I don't know what to do.
What do I do with this?
What do I do with this here? And then the guy, he's like looking for any in on like whatever. And the guy makes a joke as the cerebral palsy is kind of, it's doing its thing. And he makes a joke about, the cerebral palsy comic saying, I've been driving around Florida doing a lot of stand-up, and I've been doing this. I've been driving and swimming. And Chad goes, you drive? The guy gets mad and starts like laying in on Chad. He's like going and going and going. This is the first comic. And
that's setting the tone.
Sets the tone. A couple minutes of this guy flipping out later. Chad's like, okay, but do you drive? And like goes back into it.
Yeah.
And they kind of go at it to where
it's not a crazy question.
It's not crazy.
Especially in that environment.
Besides, there's been people on there before that are just getting murdered for being in wheelchairs, needing crutches, being blind.
Our buddy Dennis says he talked about Kill Tony in detail on his other podcast, Middle of Somewhere.
Yeah, text me a link to that, Dennis. I was actually trying to find that podcast, and I couldn't. I think it's called Middle of Somewhere, and I couldn't find the episode where he's talking about it. So he gets a little gun shy for a while in the middle of it. And at the very end, a Kill Tony regular. You've got Hans Kim, Casey Rocket, William Montgomery. He's a dude, crazy, fiery red head of hair, red beard. He's just manic. He's hilarious. I find him funny as shit, but he's not the joke writer. He's not the man. It's like, what an interesting observation. He's just a force of nature that you watch and you're like, this is goddamn spectacular.
It's a vibe, right?
But it's like comparing the height of Simon and Garfunkel to the pirate metal
Yes.
Eric listens to.
Right.
Both music,
Right.
they never will fit.
No, they should never touch.
Well, William Montgomery, he's known to lash out comedically, kind of whatever, and he barks at Chad like, "Who are you? What are you supposed to be, a comedian? Are you a comedian?"
No.
Crowd starts laughing. Chad gets nonplussed. Chad starts making fun of his voice.
Yeah.
Montgomery gets upset about it. Maybe,
but
maybe
are you
not.
a comedian line? It's like,
Yeah,
you really don't know my fucking my credits here,
dude. It's rough. So he gets pissed, and I consider Chad. I consider Chad to be a friend. If I texted Chad now, he would text back in a couple of minutes tops. So he's now having the Kill Tony crew absolutely go in on him, dude. I'm just gonna pull up. This is one of his channels. The comments on this thing is he a comedian or something? Is this Chad?
Yeah.
Does he do comedian? Wait a minute, I remember this guy. Is he a comedian or something? So Chad, is he a comedian?
Has
by the way,
Tony
what is your crap?
call off the dog? Because this doesn't represent.
I don't know,
what he thinks.
dude. Like,
because clearly Chad Daniels
he's a brilliant,
awesome,
comic.
and incredibly successful.
Beyond successful, 20 years into it. William Montgomery will be a legend in his own time. Again, I love his chaotic nature. I think he's fucking hysterical.
But I guess that's how you have to do things now. You have to start some feud.
But it gives me such
to go viral. You have to have some bullshit.
I guess you gotta.
I guess. I don't know. We've never done it. So
no, we haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, the closest we came to it was discussing Shane Gillis on SNL.
Right.
And yeah, so seeing a guy, it's like almost watching two friends fight, but one of them is actually a friend, because Chad Daniels is a friend. And William Montgomery, I'd love to see his insane rise. I mean, I think the guy deserves every dollar he's making on the road.
I'm not actually familiar with him.
You got to watch
it. Check it out.
Again, this is not a guy you're like, oh, what an interesting political commentary. The man is pure, raw, kinetic. He looks like a berserker from a Viking show. Just wild head of hair. He just looks like he's on fire. And he moves around like he is. And he makes me laugh. He makes me laugh so hard. But goddamn, I don't like shows that give me anxiety. I can't watch Ozark on Netflix.
It's a lot of the
Better Call Saul would stress me out.
No, it does. The new guy from Breaking Bad. What am I forgetting his name? Bryan Cranston. That show, Your Honor, is
yes.
That gives you anxiety.
That gives me anxiety. And watching this, I texted Chad too. I was like, dude, that's awesome. You were on Kill Tony. I gotta say, that show gives me anxiety. He goes, yeah. I won't read the whole text to you. I'll show you off there, but essentially the same thing. He's like, that show, it's not for the faint of heart. It's incredible what it's doing for comics.
Yes.
But it freaks me out to get anywhere near it.
I can't watch the comics. I get stressed.
I'd
out.
be eaten alive.
You know what else can give you anxiety is listen to Joe and Katie.
Oh, God, yeah.
On the latest episode of Clueless, a movie that Ariel's finally seen, Joe decides to die on a hill, whether a guy is hot or not, and Katie will have none of it.
So I went with this guy. His name, you'll recognize him when you see him. His name's Johnny Whitworth. So here he is. Do you recognize that guy?
He's too good looking. I'm sorry, but he's listen to me. He is absolutely not. He is way too good looking for this role. The idea is that Cher and Dion are like telling Ty, there's no way you can date this guy.
Right.
He's basically social suicide if you date these guys. And this guy is hot as fuck.
Right, but he just is off a movie where he plays the exact same character. The guy who's awkward and he doesn't know if he can get the girl, and he finally builds up the courage to yeah, I mean, he's done what you're saying he can't do. He's done it. He's done that.
Okay.
I'm just saying that he's done it. I'm not saying that your argument would make sense other than the fact that we saw him do what you're saying he can't do. He did it in the movie the only movie I know him from.
Type in Empire Records.
I will.
Okay. I just want to see what he looks like in it.
All right. This is what he looks like in the movie. Hold
Absolutely
on.
not.
That's not. Come on. That's him now.
This is what he's so attractive.
Okay. Again.
By the way,
now that
attractive.
I see this picture, I know I'm even more convinced that he can do it. And like I said, he is a very, very similar character.
Okay. We'll see what everybody else thinks.
All right. Well,
but you're wrong. Okay, I love my pick. He's 23 at the time.
I hope he's ugly.
Dude, okay.
Joe has to get the last word.
Dude, it gives me anxiety. Like the show, here's why you're wrong.
Okay.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
But it gives me anxiety. Hey, did you experience, by the way, Brittany, any anxiety last week, which we didn't address it in the chat, but you said Katie has a short fuse.
Oh,
did you see the chat? And Katie's like, so I've got a short fuse.
I noticed that.
And I was like, oh, Brittany, stand down.
And Brittany
stand
did
down.
the right thing. She goes, we're not going to talk about this. We're going to move the fuck on.
DNE. Do not engage.
Yeah.
Hey,
I love that Katie's saying the guy's too hot. And Joe's like, no. I know about how attractive guys are.
I know about good-looking dudes, and that guy's not too hot.
This is my wheelhouse.
Okay, I do a podcast with two of them every Tuesday night, so I know what a good-looking piece of pussy looks like.
Yeah,
and that ain't him.
That ain't it.
Any good-looking trim at your pool?
You know what? It occurred to me when you guys did the what is it called, tubing, that I was like, when's the last time I was like in the fucking water? And I grew up swimming, so my mom was a great swimmer.
Lake.
Anything. It might be like, I think the last time I was in a body of water was at the nudist resort and I was naked in West Virginia. Like
Wait,
15 years
at
ago.
the Avalon?
At the Avalon.
Where if anybody here, and I'm going to give you the playbook, I'm going to give you the Game Genie hack. If you would like to see me and my friend John Muma completely naked in all of our glory, go to the Avalon Nudist Resort Naturist Retreat in wherever the bumfuck West Virginia. Go into the grand room where they have their performances, bingos, and their various performances, and look on the wall because there's a lot of pictures up there. And there's a picture of me and my little acorn crank, John and his terrible olive on his chest tattoo, and his balls, and his very displeased wife in the background. So all you got to do is join a news resort and head on in.
Well, I tried to take a picture of that, and they said, no, we don't allow photos.
Thank God.
And I go, hey, they're friends of mine. And they go, we can email it to you. And I'm like, now this is getting weird.
Email me some nudes of my friend's dick.
So, and I know I got in the water. We went on one of those spring flings with 98 Rock. But my apartment is not cheap. And there's some nice amenities, one of them being the rooftop pool. And I moved in 2 years ago.
You had a rooftop pool?
I do.
Oh, shit. Those can be nice.
Joe and Katie have been in that pool because Eric, our friend, used to live there. They've been there 20 times. So I moved in 2 years ago, August, and I was on the road a lot and into summer, and I never bothered. You got to get like a bracelet and whatever to go to the pool. And then last year, very busy summer. And then it was about late July, early August, I realized, I haven't even been up to the pool. But then I was too embarrassed to then ask for the bracelet because it's like, now it's been open for 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't know why I would care about
why they wouldn't give it a second.
No, but I care for some reason.
Yeah.
And then this year it happened again.
Okay.
I'm like, well, I can't ask now. And then so now I'm just not going to the pool.
How many guests are you allowed to have?
That's another thing. I don't even know those questions. So
can you find out?
But then if I ask, it's like, how do you not know this? You've been here 2 years.
Female $50 member. Female $50 member.
Brittany's saying DLP party at Rob's rooftop pool.
Oh yeah, penis in the pool. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we grab some of the better looking members out of the crew.
Yeah,
throw their asses in there. Mac, fly the fuck in, and we just turned that thing into some hottie soup. I had no idea. I would like to get in your rooftop pool because that I feel fancy in.
Yeah,
there was a famous.
It's a nice apartment. I should take advantage of all the amenities.
Nice as shit, and you probably paying for it.
There's not using it.
Not using it at all. A fitness center?
Oh yeah.
Use it?
No.
Okay.
Need to.
Massage therapist?
No, but there is. I mean, there is like a shuffleboard and thing upstairs and like a pool table. I think there's a pool. I don't even fucking know.
DL Keeney, Ariel, I will send a car for you if you get in the water. And don't mind if Joe, Rob, and I swim near you with little mason jars.
Not weird
just
at
all. Up all the water as you swim around.
Delicious.
There was it was called the Downtown Merit in Baltimore.
You were segueing into Stamboni.
No.
Bathwater.
Oh, we're gonna in a second. But there was a pool on the roof of the Merit, which is downtown, which in Baltimore was where like the beautiful people went.
Yeah.
Any downtown Baltimore business yuppie would work out there and in the summer go to the rooftop pool. I went there once. And listen, I'm not saying I'm ever going to walk the Paris runway, but I don't think women shield their children's eyes from me either when I walk nearby. I have never felt more like fucking Ron Howard. I've never felt more like an orc from the Lord of the Rings.
They were just tens everywhere.
Everywhere were tens. I think it's the last time I got in the pool with a shirt on. Just every last
yeah.
ripped. Who's the English soccer player married to the
David
Beckham? They all look
Mhm.
like Beckham.
Yeah.
It was just nothing
Just
but
perfect.
Beckham's, Eva Longoria's, and then me.
Right.
And they're looking at my pale, freckly ass. I'm like, I'm never coming back here. But it was fancy. And
you
they had
need a
swim
neighborhood
apart.
pool.
I have one,
Yes.
and I pay $700
Yes.
a month, and it's full of special needs children and 400-pound moms and 200 pounds worth of bathing
But
suits.
if we show up with Ariel and Kelsey and Steph and Britt,
your Pams and your
come
Nickies,
on, whoever watermelon is,
whoever
I don't even know who that
watermelon,
is,
I'm
but
assuming you got
yeah,
two big juicy fruits
exactly.
back there at the base of your
Yeah.
spine.
you want to look at us, is what I'm saying.
Speaking of jarring up water, boy, did we kick up a bee's nest. We talked about this on JSS, but I mean, we had to come back to the man who was the origin of the idea.
It seemed to go really well.
It went great.
At least
I
so.
thought.
Yeah.
And you know what? By all metrics, it kind of did. What's the old adage with Stern? People that love Stern listen to him for 47 minutes.
Yeah.
People that hated Stern listen to him for an hour and
There
15
you go.
minutes. So whatever. We did the bit that you came up with on the air saying, hey, Joe Stamboni, JSS DLP
You can
producer.
come, Raven Chef.
Just scoop it all up. Raven, you're in. Scoop up Josh's bathwater, my bathwater, and Scott's.
So you can taste and figure out who's who.
And
Which you nailed.
Which he nailed. And I said, I had the idea, I kind of sprinkled some seasoning on it, saying, I want you to find the actual list that they use at wine tastings.
Yes.
I want you to find body, color, hue, aftertaste, notes, bouquet, all this shit, mouthfeel. Print it out, and I want you to write mouthfeel.
Okay.
Might be a show title.
Yeah, I know there's been some other ones.
We're
like
not
3-wick
using
Candle Dick.
Racist and the Rapist. That is not
Nope.
going to be a title. We're going to get deplatformed.
What did you call it? Mouth what?
Mouthfeel.
Feel.
And it's one word.
Really?
Swish, gargle, spit into a bucket. And it was a little gnarly because Josh's water was filled with a bunch of strange curly hairs.
Yeah.
Who knows what part of his beautiful werewolf-like body they came with. Scott's had a little debris floating in it because he had to hose his butt cheeks off. Might have knocked loose a Toll House morsel. And mine, for the most part, I think I had the closest to a bottle of Fiji, shockingly.
Yeah.
The freshest water. Drinks it, gargles it, spits it out. We have a laugh. Fast forward one day later. We start reading the comments. Dude, people were displeased. People were fired up.
It was no soap or anything.
There's no soap. That was another thing. I was like, I don't want to get him sick.
Right.
So I just want to do body in water. All right. Make sure no one's got any oozing wounds. I don't want to have any pustules. Just,
of course not.
Whatever. I think for the most part, none of us have
and he's just putting his mouth and gargling it, and swirling it around.
And out it goes. You guys have sunk to a new low. Wow. This is what passes for radio these days. Oh my God. You guys have picked the low hanging fruit before, but never the fruit that's on the ground. Blah, blah, blah. They were fired up.
Now, are you upset at this or like, well, we got another break to talk about it?
Most views we've had on a video in about 3 months.
Yeah.
So thanks a lot. And we also said, oh, so you hated us gargling bathwater? Well, guess what, bitch? Fast forward 3-4 days, we're going to be eating dog food in the studio.
There you go.
Hope you like it because Josh is going to bring in some dog food that Scott's going to season up. He's going to eat it like it's goddamn shepherd's pie. Joe's going to eat it. I'm going to puke. So I can't stress how much telling us not to do something will make us push the throttle forward more.
Yeah.
If you don't want us to do something, the best thing to do is just not listen to it and check back in. But I can't stress it enough. Again, I'm giving you the playbook. You want to see my penis? Go to the Avalon. If you want us to do something more, bitch about it. And
as far as radio show wacky bits, it's super tame. I mean, it's water that is just you put your naked body in.
We
There's
had
no
a cat
soap.
food cooking challenge.
Right. And the beauty of how it worked is that he was able to successfully guess who was who.
Nailed it. He nailed A, he nailed B, he
couldn't
nailed
have gone
C.
any better.
All of them were perfect.
And was he sick for a day? No, he was fine. He spit the thing out, fucking went on with his day.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yes, Raven Chef, you remember the chicken wing. It was horrible. Brittany, don't worry. I've got the photo of me saved in my phone. And
Brittany, there's an easier way for you to see things if you just give us a text.
make
Anyway,
some pot stickers.
Yes.
You know what Daddy likes to eat after he gets his nut. New Dork Dynasty coming out this Saturday.
Yeah, tell me about what's going on.
What we're going to be doing on Dork Dynasty, obviously, what we've been playing, some video game news, reviews, and a giveaway. We have selected a winner. We teased it an episode or two ago. I got this big, beautiful, light-up LED wall art sign. It looks like a classic PlayStation controller.
Yes.
But it looks like a piece of fake neon. Not like the con. That's going to look nice. No, this is a nice sign. It's about yay wide. I'm going to say it's about 30 inches, pretty big, lights up. It's perfect for a game room, something Dave Dennis would be proud to have downstairs, and that gorgeous video temple of his. We're going to announce the winner. We've selected somebody off of a list. Got to be a DLP Patreon member to win, but you snatch somebody off of there. It was for anybody in any tier, 5, 10, 20, 50. You're going to be announced this coming Saturday. We're going to get the thing done. We're going to record it around noon, hopefully post it a little bit later on that day. Full show reunited next week. We'll have Joe back. We can ask about everything in Ocean City.
He'll have lots of tales. We'll get updates on his back. We're going to record the first 2 episodes of Track Off next week. That's
right. The logo looks good.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you again, Dave Dennis. We're going to have the Katie Cup coming soon, where we're going to, who knows Katie the best. Patreon members can play along. And then the Tuesday after Labor Day is the chat will run the show.
The AMA.
We answer your questions.
AMA, ask me anything. AUA, ask us anything. I just became familiar with this in the last year or two of joining the show. I love them. I used to take part in them on the Rob and Joe show. So next week, we'll reunite. We'll be a 3-headed beast. We'll talk to you again next week.
And then 4 weeks, ATM ass to mouth.
Oh, no.